And now for something completely different.
Advisors.
And good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. I'm Rich Rosso, CFP, here with Danny Ratliff, CFP. Welcome, everybody. We are looking at futures down this morning. 302 points on the Dow. S&P down 36. To make it easier, I brought in Girl Scout cookies for Brent. Just to keep him happy. Got to keep Brent happy, because if Brent's not happy, nobody happy. Got to keep Brent happy.
I'll share with you.
I've got my own stash, thank you. When they have that Girl Scout cookie weekend, It's like February 18th to February 20th.
Yeah.
It's when all the Girl Scouts galvanize and they get out there just to get you before you walk into the grocery store.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like barracudas.
I will never forget. And how do you do? Do you push them away? What do you do?
Yeah. No cash. No cash.
No cash.
Shopper carries no cash.
Oh, we take credit, sir.
Yeah,
They do.
They will.
We take Square.
Do
we
they
take.
really? Good for them.
We take Bitcoin. No, just kidding.
That's coming.
Girl Scout cookies sold by Bitcoin. You know that is.
They're
coming.
working on their cyber currency merit badge.
What do you call it? The girly coin? What is it? The Girl Scout coin?
Richard.
No, the Girl Scout coin. For just to buy cookies and Girl Scout to support the Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Big business, though, Girl Scout cookies. Do you know how much they sell a year?
How much?
I got to find it.
A lot.
They make something like $800 million a year.
Does that show up in the CPI?
You know what? Did you see that there was an issue with ingredients for Girl Scout cookies, so they had to hike the price?
Ah.
So $800 million, the Girl Scouts net $600 million in net revenue. That is a nice business, right? Those darn cookie pushers. And then they send you a website link now. You don't even have to see them. But I'll never forget, I was at Kroger, and there was a table, Girl Scouts, and with all these stacks of cookies. One guy came, pulled up in a truck. I just saw the conversation, and they just started loading all the cookies, and they closed. The guy bought all the cookies.
Next time they need to save the time. Sir, can I have your number, your address, please?
I think he was performing a public service for the neighborhood.
You know what? I bet
Maybe
you
he
will
worked for
find
Weight
some.
Watchers.
You stack them out outside.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right outside Curves. You put two big stacks of cookies. See what happens.
Have you noticed where Whataburger's been building their restaurants lately? Mm-hmm. In the parking lots of LA Fitness.
That is true.
Think about it.
And next to Chick-fil-A's.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people make that beeline right from LA Fitness to Whataburger right after they work
Or
out.
they just say, screw it.
Doesn't flow the other way, I'll tell you that.
No, it absolutely doesn't. So we got a big day of data today. We have average hourly earnings coming up month over month. For February, expected 0.5. It was 0.7 during the previous. Obviously, the Fed's probably going to raise rates, but I think the market got some relief, Danny, from the fact that, hey, they're not going to look at 50 basis points. They're going to probably look at 25 basis points. So if my house is on fire, that fire being inflation, and there are fire trucks outside, someone comes over with a little water shooter, little water gun, and starts squirting the fire. That's all. Little squirt. Little squirt, because we don't want to upset the market. Which, by the way, in the event of all the crises going down, is off 8.65% for the year, which is nothing. Noise. That's noise for the S&P 500. How many times a year, Danny, should you get a 5% pullback or a 10% correction? And we're not even there yet with everything that we're seeing. This morning, obviously predictable trades with the whole Ukraine, obviously, I don't know what they're bombing now, something nuclear, right? you should be down, to me, a lot more than you're down this morning. Flight to quality trades, where's the treasuries? Where's the treasury yield this morning?
Treasuries are down about 7 basis points this morning pre-market. And I think what's really interesting right now is, are we getting back, if you remember any times of real turmoil, you'd see everybody, you'd see a lot of selling on Fridays.
Yes.
People getting out.
Yep.
Going
Before
to that
the
flight to
weekend.
quality.
Yep.
Don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of days.
Yep.
So maybe take a break, come back on Monday and see what happens.
Now, if you listen to the Fed, and I think this is why the market took off, Powell he's talking about, and I mentioned this to a few clients the other day, is all the market needs to see is inflation peak and start to come down. It doesn't need to go down to some nebulous target set by the Fed. It just needs to trend in a different direction. Powell used those words this week, Danny. He said, if it starts, we're going to see if it trends lower. So it's not even, we're not talking about any kind of 2% target or anything. That's off the table. The fact that if it starts to trend down, then the house on fire, we may not even use a water gun. We might use a whiskey shot glass of water. In other words, the rate hikes after this next rate hike may be insignificant, which is sort of falling in line with some of the economists we follow and what we write here about the Fed may not get through as many rate hikes as some of the investment banks are forecasting, 6 or 7.
Well, I think those forecasts are beginning to come down a tad bit as well. If you start looking at new numbers as we progress throughout the year, things start to materialize. We are seeing changes. And so I think that's something that, we've been talking about being nimble all year. This is going to be a year that we need to be extremely flexible. And I think that's going to have to remain the case. I mean, I don't see any other way because the Fed is that's always the wild card. You don't know exactly what they're going to do, but we have a pretty good idea. And they're always, we talk about it, a day late and a dollar short, but it's not an enviable position to be in. However, these guys are going to have to act. And like you said, it's probably with the squirt gun or a water bottle where it could, it really probably needs to be with the bazooka, but, we know that that's just not going to be the case in this environment because the financial stability aspect of it in the environment that we're currently in, I just can't see how you do it.
You don't, to your point. So it's amazing because I still think that the Fed is the ultimate in the ultimate view of the market versus anything that's going on in Ukraine. Because soon as Powell speaks, it drowns out everything else. Mm-hmm. Because it's always about interest rates. It's always about the Fed. Yes, this is other stuff that creates very large price volatility in major U.S. indexes. Absolutely. But the thing that really gets the market going is the Fed. And I think what this market is banking on is that inflation starts to peak and turn. And if you look at first quarter economic numbers, it would say that would be the case. But we don't know. So it's really in the Fed's hands what this market does. But to be down 8.65% in the face of all this, that's just literally the price of admission to invest in stocks. And if you have been in bonds, which have worked, as Lance talks about, in times of extreme volatility, or even gold, the traditional safe havens are working. When we get back, we want to talk about frugal living tips from the Great Depression. Not that that's coming, but in the face of inflation, it could help. Here on Financial Fitness Friday. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
FAFSA. It's FAFSA season, that crucial time of the year when thousands of dollars in financial aid for your college-bound scholar are at stake. Our next free virtual lunch and learn will help you avoid making costly mistakes on the free application for financial student aid, the FAFSA. Thursday, March 10th at noon. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com for our next lunch and learn on college planning and dealing with FAFSA season. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
Do you know what you don't know when hiring and retaining quality employees? Compensation is more than just wages. It's personal time off, the vacation days, healthcare benefits, a 401k. Do you know what's important to them? Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable, effective package that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Welcome back. Morning funny for you. It's important to look closely at lawn signs during election campaigns. Last time I voted for a real estate agent. You know, that could happen. Because out of 5,000 people on my Facebook, I think 4,900 are roughly real estate agents.
Really?
I think so.
I think that's the side business of our time. Not to denigrate those who do a full-time job and do a good job of it, but
there is an art to it.
everybody I know is selling real estate.
Why not?
When you getting your license, Danny?
I'm not. But I'm telling Michelle she is.
Yeah, Michelle.
Not paying that 6%.
And Michelle could sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah.
So
you might be one. You
there.
might be, if she starts a new venture, you might want to be one of those stay-at-home husbands.
I told her, hey, we could make this work, but you know.
Do you ever see the story, those money dynamics of men who are really, they're intimidated by their wives making more money? I'm like, bring it on.
Please.
Please do.
Make me a kept man.
Yeah.
I have no ego in this. Make as much as you want.
See, I love what I do, though. So that'd be the most difficult part.
Well, no, but I mean, I'm not going to be intimidated by my spouse making more money than I am.
Oh, I would love it. Please.
Yeah.
But it's funny how you read when there's financial conflict between couples, and it's happening more. And if you're both not on, like you and Michelle are on the same wavelength, which is important when it comes to your money scripts. How many times do we meet with couples that their money scripts totally conflict? I am proud to say I have broken up more engagements than most advisors probably have. One time I met with a couple, I said, I don't think you two are really compatible. He's a spendthrift, she's a saver, and it was like two ends of the spectrum, and they were going to try to work that out. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I met with somebody just a couple days ago where it was, she said, look, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. He wanted to be extremely, save all this money and go buy all these things, but yet, racking up credit card debt.
Yeah.
So you start seeing the dynamics of it and the changes, how quickly that can occur. And then the long-term impact, it's significant.
Well, this young couple I met with, they were great, and I still work with her. He doesn't like me very much. He goes, he wants me to pay off his student loan debt. So we're on a better footing. What do you mean we're? I said, that's not your student loan debt. She's, by the way, this was about 7 years ago, and she's married to a very nice gentleman, and they both have the same money script.
And he has no student loan debt.
So this was pre-marriage. He was saying he wanted her to pay it off?
Yeah, that was part of his plan, because I said, bring to me your plans of how you're going to, I want to see what you're going to do to meld all this together. There was no melding. There was no melding. So someone was going to be financially neutered, but there was no melding.
Well, but that's unfortunate. That's the problem I think that we see in general, the lack of personal finance 101, the inability to have conversations openly. I mean, you think about it. It used to be you could sit around a table and people would go through the budget together. You'd have a
Right.
weekly or monthly meeting and discuss these things. And I feel like, probably as parents, and we've talked about this before, Rich, that we don't do as good of a job as we should, showing kids that this is the way it should be, doing these things in front of them. It's like I've told you guys numerous times how our little one, he one day he looked at a play set and online, he wanted me to look at this. And it was like, of course, the biggest one ever. And he said, "Hey, I want you to, I want this one." And it was like $27,000. I'm trying to explain to him at 5 years old how that's just not, we're not going to do that. And a couple days later,
Maybe when you're older.
yeah, a couple days later, he said, "Hey, Dad, where are the guys?" I said, "What guys?" "Well, the guys for the play set." I said, "What? What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh, wait a second. You thought we bought that?" So yeah, we got online. We bought that. So where are they? Because they see the Amazon boxes show up.
And
FedEx
you
is
were looking
down
at
every
it
street.
online, so he made the assumption that you bought it.
Correct. And so that's an issue I think that we have to face. And so like I told Michelle, I said, "Hey, we have to do a better job of communicating on how these things work." And so, we've broken out dollars and, it's like we took them to an arcade, and the arcade they have cards now. So they have no sense of how this works and what that means when we say, Michelle went and got a bunch of quarters and said, "Here you go, guys." If she gets there, you can't even use them.
I know what
Because
happens.
she's trying to understand how actual money works, how much, so it's tangible.
Yes.
And that's the problem now, because they see this card and they just think it's
That is the benefit of handling dirty, old-fashioned money for children. Coins, dollars. Right? You know what Danny did, right, Brent? He says, "Yeah, James, it's in the backyard." And then he locked the kid in the yard all night, teaching him the lesson that there is no gifts coming, no big playhouses.
Yeah, it looked like I had a bunch of gophers in the backyard. He had a shovel. I kid. He gets it. My middle one gets it.
I see the biggest issue with kids today, and it's always been an issue. So I'm not saying this is a new issue. I just see it's more exacerbated. It's bigger. Is the immediate gratification we give kids.
Yeah.
The delayed gratification bone is something you need to form in children, because that is so important to investing, pay yourself first, financial discipline, that ability. And there have been great studies like Dan Ariely writes in his book about, he had a whole experiment with chocolate. Which kids ate chocolate right away? Which kids waited to do, they said, if you do this, you get more chocolate. Like, in other words, if you do this, I'll put another piece of chocolate out, and so you'll have two instead of one. How many kids went for the one, and how many kids
waited and delayed and got two?
Yeah. Right? So teaching your children delayed gratification, I think, is one of the most important lessons when it comes to money.
You know how hard
and
is that
anything else
now?
in life.
Think about how hard that is now, because everybody has access to money.
Yes.
Credit card.
Everything.
Oh, easy to go get a loan. So,
And I
you
can
know what?
buy
Nobody
anything.
waits.
I could buy, like you said, I could buy anything. Like while we're on the show here, I can just pretty much order anything I want.
Anything
right?
you
in a
want.
minute.
Yeah.
So that financial discipline to our children is more important than ever, and yet it's failing probably more often than it ever has. And that's important. So these frugal living tips, the reason I'm bringing that up is I saw this piece, and it's pretty elementary. I'm sure a lot of people who listen to the show are going to be rolling their eyes with this, but with inflation and how to spend your dollars, this is going to be very important. So today, like when I was on Facebook, one of my friends, Charlie, said, listen, and it's really simple advice, but then I said, this is the best advice I've heard. Maintenance on your automobile. If you're not tracking maintenance on oil changes, transmission fluid changes, tire rotations, this is the time. Anything you can do to prolong the life of your automobile. Right? Now, these are things we should have been doing anyway. But how many do? Now it's going to mean big money in your out of your pocket if you don't follow simple rules that lead to spending less money overall. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's too easy sometimes, right? We make it too difficult in so many ways, but really if we get down to stripping down all the excess of things, we can make this so much easier.
Do you know how long Grandma Rosso would make a square of aluminum foil last? I think I went through the same aluminum foil from kindergarten to 6th grade.
That art,
I actually started marking it. Like, you mark your kid's height on how old this piece of aluminum.
Put a date every time you saw it.
I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's what Brent will remember this. How about all that orange Tupperware, or everything became a container for you to hold? Mm-hmm. Your Cool Whip container, your whatever container you had became a food container. So when you went into my grandmother's refrigerator and they were like, 4 of, all this Cool Whip and all this.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip, yeah. She would take, remember Wonder Bread?
Oh, yes.
The old wrappers with the colored balloons
polka
on
dots,
them. Polka
yeah.
dots?
Yeah.
Do you know she would use that to store food?
Cheap baggies.
Cheap. It was always a mystery when you went in that fridge.
See,
I'm not
you know
saying...
what? We laugh at cheap baggies. The price of oil is going to impact the cost of baggies. You watch.
Oh, and with the
it.
zippers and all that. Of course, all the petroleum that goes into this stuff. Forget it.
Everything you touch is going to be affected by this. By the way, Tupperware makes great nail and screw holders in the garage. So I recycle the recycles.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Brent's got a hint of that
green.
That Great Depression. But I'm saying you don't have to get this extreme, but you do get creative.
But that's that era where you would reuse things. You would make things work. You would fix things.
Right.
Now we just say, we'll get another one.
But this is where one of the tips is, right? Get creative in developing new things that you can make or repair yourself instead of purchasing from the store. So help others understand that so they don't need to purchase those items. This makes sense. This is almost going to be like MacGyver. Inflation MacGyver.
He was onto something.
He was.
Yeah.
He didn't realize how much inflation we were going to see. So that's important, I think. We're going to continue with some of these tips. But, man, I thought the one about sticking to the schedule for automobile maintenance, so simple, but yet so important. We get back, we can continue on some tips from the Great Depression. I'm not depressed because I have Girl Scout cookies. We'll be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
FAFSA. It's FAFSA season, that crucial time of the year when thousands of dollars in financial aid for your college-bound scholar are at stake. Our next free virtual lunch and learn will help you avoid making costly mistakes on the free application for financial student aid, the FAFSA. Thursday, March 10th at noon. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com for our next lunch and learn on college planning and dealing with FAFSA season. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
I personally don't have a lot of sympathy for professional athletes when they complain about working conditions or whatever. It's like, you get paid $50 million a year to throw a leather ball down a field. I mean,
to play sports.
You've got very little to complain about.
The Real Investment Show podcast. Same show, your schedule.
You make a bad play, people are harassing you for the next 10 years.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
Like I said, I just don't have a lot of sympathy.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available from Stitcher Smart Radio at Stitcher.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA Advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. It's a quick and easy application. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
It's FAFSA season, that crucial time of the year when thousands of dollars in financial aid for your college-bound scholar are at stake. Our next free virtual Lunch and Learn will help you avoid making costly mistakes on the free application for financial student aid, the FAFSA. Thursday, March 10th at noon. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Did you know the annual inflation rate for motor vehicle parts and equipment was up 13% in January? So take care of that automobile. Another tip is to regularly revisit your recurring expenses. I had a client that's finally micro-budgeting, going through all her credit card statements, and found a Norton antivirus annual subscription on a computer they haven't had for about 7 years.
I hate it when that happens.
Multiple subscriptions to ESPN, and they only use one. Magazines that they don't even remember the names of. And I'm telling you, these recurring expenses are wonderful for organizations, but not good for you, unless you're absolutely using the service. And even then, shop around, get new quotes, do new things. I did a recent report during Super Bowl weekend with Channel 2 KPRC, helping a woman who wanted to lower her interest rate on her credit cards. So I went through the steps with her, with Bill Spencer over at Channel 2. And, you know, I told her what to say, and man, got somebody from JP Morgan on the phone, right? So this woman wouldn't budge. Oh, we don't. Well, listen, I've been with you for this long. I gave her all the pitch. And the girl was very nice. The customer service representative was very nice. She goes, yeah, but we don't negotiate. We don't negotiate with terrorists. We don't negotiate over credit card rates. Well, you know, and she kept going. I told her, keep going, keep going. Till she finally relented and said, well, maybe I can put you through to the retention department. Well, ultimately, she took, yes, There is something called a
Maybe.
retention department. So listen to this. This is on a Chase card.
I bet there's they have a clock that goes every call. It starts you cannot tell anybody about the retention department until they've been on the phone for at least 1 hour.
No, well, we were
Right?
on the
Because
phone.
you don't want these people knowing about this stuff.
No, she
Fine,
had to keep.
you got it. You won.
Well, in other words, you know what I told the woman that was a very nice woman, business owner? You know how many people would have given up? Mm-hmm. Because she was, we just don't negotiate that. I'm sorry. Well, and she's very nice, stay polite, keep going, keep chipping away. Well, she got her interest rate lowered from 18% to something like 12% for a year. Okay, still high, but what I'm saying is sometimes this takes a little work.
Well, the other part of that scenario is, and that's great that they get the interest rate lowered, but if you pay the stupid thing off every month, there is no interest charge.
But again, that doesn't. You got to look at real life.
I know.
Because when I looked at the story on Channel 2's website, everybody is a know-it-all. Well, this is a terrible story. You should be paying it off every month. Thanks, Karen. Like we wouldn't have known that. Obviously, she's a business owner, new business. She can't pay it off every month.
Right.
Right? She does more than the minimum payment. So, again, all you financial know-it-alls that say, you should pay it off every month. I want to see the manager. Sometimes in real life, you can't. So you got to work with what you got. All right? Ask for loyalty discounts, right? Try negotiating with the biller. Again, we just saw that. Again, you're going to have a strong resolution there. You're going to have to make sure that you keep going. Listen, hey, all right? Pay annually instead of monthly. How many services do you need, Danny? Like I'll buy a service and it'll say, okay, if I know I'm going to absolutely use this service, I will pay for the annual versus the monthly charge because the annual charge is going to give me a lower cost.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
So it's so much cheaper. So just like insurance, I mean, if you're paying for your automobile, your homeowners, you typically get a small discount if you pay things up front. So I think that's always something to look at. But you've got to understand and think about, I know there's so many subscriptions these days, from the television subscriptions to food. I mean, you name it, right? I mean, even Amazon Prime went up in price just recently. But if you start doing the cost and figure out shipping in 2 days, I mean, there's not many instances where you're going to find something still better, right, or cheaper, a cheaper alternative, and something that gives you such a wide array of different products. I mean, that's always a nice aspect of it. But there's a service for a service for a service these days. It's just
Absolutely.
and now they have, we talked about this off air, but Truebill or other services similar to it, a subscription service to help you lower your subscription services.
Listen, that's genius.
It is.
Because they're going to go through and do what you won't do.
Yeah.
And say, wait, we detect this, we detect that. So it might be worth it for a period of time as opposed to just sitting there. But like you said, we have lost the ability to sit and examine our finances.
But you know what?
In a very simple manner.
It's so interesting because I think life has become so much easier in so many ways that we're lazy in others because it's so easy to hit the button and say, order this. Yes, I'll sign up for the subscription, do the Apple Pay, whatever it may be. But you can also, in the amount of time you can do that, you can go on your phone, go to your calendar, and say, hey, here is when this is going to be up or my free trial is up. If you want to try something out or you want to watch, one show and you're going to binge watch it, instead of owning that service for the next year, do it for that free period and get out.
Speaking of binge watching, if you haven't done it, you got to watch Jack Reacher on Amazon Prime. Have you done that, Brent? Get to it.
Yes, I have.
Very good. It is exactly like the book.
All of it.
It is exactly like the book.
And he's a better Jack Reacher than
because he's the
Tom
Jack
Cruise.
Reacher in the book.
Yeah.
Right? It was great. Okay. Paying cash instead of a credit card. So yesterday, I had my lawn composted. Not cheap. And they said, okay, well, you could put it on a credit card. It's a small company. I said, well, you said if I go through Zelle, I get 2% discount to pay cash. So I paid cash. And this was not cheap, by the way, to compost your lawn, but I had to get it done. So 2%.
Had to.
You had to, man. You got to make that lawn healthy, man. Listen to Randy Lemon. So listen.
Are you on the schedule?
I am on the schedule.
Okay.
I'm on the schedule.
Do you do this?
I do the schedule.
Yeah.
I do the schedule. I don't do the composting. That's a lot of work. And aeration on my lawn, can't do it. I don't want to rent the machine and all that junk. So
I'm going to need to see weekly and monthly pictures of this lawn.
you should see it compared to the rest of the neighborhood. Their lawns are like white.
And let me tell you
Mine's
something.
gray.
There's some things around the house, like composting your yard and aerating your grass. It's better to pay somebody to do it.
But the schedule, to actually fertilize your own
yeah.
lawn, you can do that.
Sure.
Yeah. But the point is, pay with cash if you can. Now, why can I pay with cash? Because I have what? A financial vulnerability cushion. Cash is empowering. Even though inflation and cash doesn't work, if I'm going to buy something and I'm paying cash versus using my credit card, is cash really hurt by inflation? If I'm using the cash properly,
That's right.
and I need the cash aside for an emergency reserve, I can go ahead and put it into a Chernobyl market, right, where I'm going to get extreme volatility, or I have enough to compost my lawn or do anything else that I need with cash. And small businesses, they're not paying fees to credit card companies, so most likely they're going to give you a discount. Another one. How many times do you get offered an extended warranty on junk? Like, why do I need an extended warranty on my toothbrush? They are rarely worth it. Now, I will show you there are times, I think, when it is worth it. Maybe on automobiles, depending upon what they come with, right?
Yep.
And all that. But how many times do you buy something online, Danny? Like, I'm talking about a simple electronic. And it gets you right there. It says, before you go, you need this extended warranty. I wonder how many people actually fall for that.
Oh, I think all the time. I think to say it's an easy thing to do, and even on vehicles, a lot of people don't realize that you can do this a la carte, where you could say, hey, you know what, I do drive quite a bit. I, for some reason, have a tendency for flat tires or messing up the rims on a vehicle, things of that nature, where you could do, some of these things side, just piecemeal them together. And I think there's an advantage to some of these things. But I'm trying to think the last time we had a new car. Michelle was in there, and I'm trying to get her to go through the process and understand, and make sure she's building her credit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says, "Hey, I think you really need this warranty." So I said, "Okay, tell me about it." And well, here's the cost. And so they break it down to you on a monthly basis. I'm like, wait a second.
And why do they do that, Danny?
Well,
why do they break it down on a monthly basis?
Because everybody lives by payment to payment. And you
Right.
think, well, this isn't so bad. It's only a couple $100.
Right.
So I did the math. I was like, wait a second. And this was just something. This was like
Danny's like Columbo. He goes,
if you had this warranty and ever had to do anything on a vehicle,
yeah.
this is where they lose me, right? Because then you get a little bit frustrated.
Right.
Like this, forget y'all. We're out of here.
We're done. Right.
But it was like $21,000.
What?
I mean, yeah. I was like, man,
When you did the math.
you better. This car better come with a driver. It wasn't even that great.
Think about how many people fall for that.
All the time. Everybody gets this. It's the best thing. Now, granted, I'm sure that's what they're telling everybody, but yeah.
I think we're going to stick with this topic when we get back. Here on Financial Fitness Friday. Stay tuned.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
FAFSA. It's It's FAFSA season, that crucial time of the year when thousands of dollars in financial aid for your college-bound scholar are at stake. Our next free virtual Lunch and Learn will help you avoid making costly mistakes on the free application for financial student aid, the FAFSA, Thursday, March 10th at noon. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com for our next Lunch and Learn on college planning and dealing with FAFSA season. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
What worries you about your money? Enhance your financial success with RIA Advisors' free financial planning tool, MyBlocks. It's our online modular manager for your money and your life. Does your vision of retirement match up to reality? MyBlocks can help to determine how much you'll need and how you can achieve. Create your own personal financial vision for the next decade with MyBlocks, our free tool at RIAadvisors.com. Click on the Client Portal tab, RIAadvisors.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
I was looking up something about Social Security. I'm sorry. All right, we were continuing on some tips to save money in times of high inflation. But I think these tips are good for any time. Why wouldn't you use these tips regardless of inflation? So, another one is to raise your deductibles. I worked with someone the other day, Danny, and I said, we were talking about health care premiums, and they have enough assets. And I said, well, why don't we just look for coverage that has a higher deductible plan, which means lower premiums. If you needed to pay the $3,000 out of pocket, you could, and you're healthy. You rarely go to the doctor, and that's what we did. So, you can potentially save hundreds of dollars raising deductibles as high as you can afford, right? So your coverage is the same, but your policy premiums will be much cheaper. But you have to have the financial vulnerability cushion to empower you to do that. See how the financial vulnerability cushion even doesn't earn much? Although I did look at Marcus Bank yesterday. I think a 12-month CD was 0.7%, Danny. That's the highest I've seen in a while. They're raising rates in anticipation of the Fed.
Yeah, that's actually...
Because that was 0.5 before. It's 0.7 now. That's another benefit of using an online FDIC-insured bank. They raise rates before the Fed does. Your brick-and-mortar bank is not going to raise rates when the Fed raises short-term rates. They're not going to raise the rates on your CDs and money markets and savings accounts. They're going to raise it on your credit card. That's what they're going to raise them on. So why wouldn't you use an online bank? That should be one of these tips.
Well, it should, but I think, if you think about how banking industries change, everybody's going towards online anyways. You look at a lot of the brick and mortars, they're taking tellers away. They're encouraging, these automated ATM or teller machines, shutting down drive-throughs. This is an easy one. Now, you have to get a little bit more comfortable with it. So I would certainly encourage that, because look, these rates aren't, nothing's going to make you jump up and down when you see these rates, but it's much better than the alternative where the big guys, they're not paying you anything. I mean, go look, you could have quite a bit of money and you're probably earning pennies on the dollar, if that, or on dollars. So, make your money work for you, even if it's just going to sit there. Anything is better than nothing.
Absolutely. Also, when you want to fine-tune your coverage, like raising your deductibles, you want to look at your insurance policies. Are you paying for coverage that you don't need? Most likely, you're underinsured. Especially if it looks at something that's going to protect your net worth. You built a high net worth. You don't have a lot of debt. What can affect it? Right? Someone trips over my composting. Falls in an aeration hole. Damn squirrels.
That's quite an aerator.
I had another joke there, but it would have been tasteless. Yeah, don't go for it. So that's called umbrella coverage. Do you have auto coverage customized for the area you live? Like, my insurance guy says something like, well, you only need this for uninsured motor coverage, motorist, right? Uninsured. I'm like, you see where I live, buddy? Raise it up. Uninsured motorist coverage is higher. I will go ahead and craft my coverage. I'm not going to also go by the recommendation by an insurance broker. And if I do, I'm going to get a second opinion. But don't you think so, Danny, that you really want to fine-tune your insurance coverage here?
Well, absolutely. I think everybody needs to fine-tune it because it's not a one-size-fits-all issue. And so when we're talking about any type of coverage, we need to be very deliberate when we're purchasing this. I mean, one, obviously your track record. You mentioned, Rich, the area you live in. I mean, uninsured motorists and usage is probably a pretty big thing. And then fortifying your finances by making sure you have the umbrella policy, going above and beyond, making sure your coverages are adequate. And I think that's really important. And then, when you take that big picture of knowing assets as well, you get a much better idea as far as what you need.
Yes.
And so, insurance is, we talk about this frequently, how, unfortunately, many times it's just sold, hey, you need this, 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 and this, without knowing the full story, where you need to take a holistic approach with that as well.
Financial vulnerability is not just keeping cash. If I have a fort around my net worth, what can breach it? Right? Most likely, some form of insurance is going to help you mitigate that risk. But we don't think about it because that stuff doesn't happen to us. But it does. And insurance, to cover these risks, is relatively cheap. So it's important for you to take a look at that, right?
Absolutely.
Next, ditch your bank accounts with fees. Like, I use Ally Bank for my checking or Fidelity, right? So you can have a Fidelity, or if you have your brokerage account, you can have a checking feature to your brokerage account. Why do I need a brick and mortar bank with fees? And I think a lot of these banks are catching on, Danny, because I was seeing something from Bank of America that they're going to cut overdraft fees because banks make huge bucks off overdraft fees.
Well, we just got a nice tip on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked it out, go to The Real Investment Show. Go like it, please. Follow us there. So if you miss a show, you're driving along, you say, hey, I want to go back and hear something, you can always go to YouTube, check it out. But Robert just said, hey, SoFi Bank has, now maybe it's SoFi.
It's SoFi.
SoFi. I thought that was right. But they're to have a 1% checking account.
Nice.
If you get direct deposit. So that's pretty cool with no fees.
With no fees, and it's FDIC insured.
Correct.
So, how many times you walk into a bank? When I was little, Brent was little, our parents would, like, on a Saturday, where are we going? Where are we going today? We're going to the bank to wait online for something we don't have to do. Right?
That still happens, this day and age.
It does?
You have regulars. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who the heck is going to the bank?
Retired people.
And they're always in front of me in line.
Yeah.
Or it's the post office.
I need to reconcile my passbook savings.
I don't even want to tell you what the post office smells like when you walk in. But it isn't good. When I was a kid, we were on welfare. And my mother would drag me to the welfare office to sit there while she begged and pleaded for whatever money she needed, right? And that smell never left my nose. Now I walk into the post office and that smell comes back. And I have no idea why.
Isn't that amazing what your brain will do?
It is. Because I'm like, I never want to sit here again. I never want to be on this again. I never want to touch a food stamp again.
So there's a connection there. There's a clue. Is that where the
Yeah,
lost
maybe it's the
mail
cleaning of
winds
the-
up? Is that the unemployment
Maybe
office?
that's what.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
All the old fruitcakes from the holidays.
You know what I
nobody
think
wants.
it is? You know what's going to laugh? I think it's the stuff they clean the floors with. Like that smell. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's not fabuloso.
No. It's something else. So thanks for the flashback, post office. I'm never walking in there again. I think a lot more young people are going to do this, Danny. You're young, but in your mind, you're like 110. Live in a walkable, bikeable area. I could tell you, my daughter, 23 years old, rarely uses the car. Do you know how many Gen Zs don't even have a driver's license?
Well, I think this is going to be dependent on where you live as well. I mean, in Houston, I'm 41 miles from door to door from the office.
No, I mean, but if you lived in Houston,
and I'm not that far. I mean, really, if you think about it.
That trip that you take is just in the northwest side of the county in which Houston's located.
If Danny takes a bike, that'll be the next iteration of 1883.
Yeah, and if he does,
how he makes that trip,
I don't think I'd
and
make it. I'll be honest.
he's going to get shot by an arrow, or something's going to happen to him.
I think it was safer for those guys. In all honesty,
I actually do. You know what? In this city, it was actually safer in 1883 to cross the Great Plains. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
I agree.
I mean, the list goes on here, but it could be an uninsured motorist to hit you. The
last 3 times one of our vehicles has been hit, it was by an uninsured motorist.
Last 3.
The last 3, yes.
You do have to, and I'm not just digging on Houston. You have to look at where city you're in and really craft your insurance.
Well, and
Because
Houston
they're gonna
has the highest rates because of that kind of situation.
But they're going to say, here's the state minimum. Okay? And if I'm living in Luling, it works. I'd like to live in Luling. But in Houston, it doesn't. All right? So that's why you do have to fine-tune your insurance, look at your premiums and deductibles, and get a review every year. We do that here. We have a great guy who does it, Chris Liebem. I've never seen anybody who lives, breathes insurance. I thought I did, but let's put it this way. I mean, he'll put you to sleep because it's insurance, but it's important. See, insurance excites me, so I don't fall asleep during insurance discussions. Meal plan. All right. The people I know who eat the healthiest and save money on groceries plan out their meals.
Hey, speaking of Chris Liebem, though, he is also a FAFSA genius.
He
So
is.
anybody out there who has a student in high school or college about to be, embarking on trying to fill out, government papers, all these things that are very overwhelming, we're going to have a lunch and learn next Thursday on the 10th. Go check it out. Go to realinvestmentadvice.com. You can sign up right there. It'll be noon on Thursday the 10th. Hope to see you guys there. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back at it here this Monday. Thanks for joining us.
It's a rich man's world.